Quanell, tonight we're going to talk about the conviction of A.J. Armstrong after 7 years. We're going to talk about the blindside controversy and whether or not Michael Orr was taken advantage of by the family that allegedly adopted him. We're going to discuss whether or not Prince Charming is a rapist. And we're also going to talk about whether or not you should use corporal punishment on a toddler for twerking. But we're going to start off, as I said, with A.J. Armstrong. It took 7 years and 3 trials to secure this conviction of a young man who was accused of murdering his retired NFL star father and his mother in a brutal fashion in their bed. What has shocked me because I think there's overwhelming evidence of his guilt, right? I think the defense counsel did a fantastic job. Rick Natoda did a great job sowing the seeds of reasonable doubt, and that's why we had 2 hung juries. But they tried to blame his brother, who had an alibi witness and who was not in the home, and I think that's a bit evil.
Charles,
you have a security system.
No.
You have a kid that got thrown out of school using drugs, shot
that don't make him a killer. That don't make him a cold-blooded killer.
I agree. The fact that he shot his parents in the head made him a cold-blooded killer.
What the prosecutors did was not turn the corner, they cut the corner. They cheated in this last trial. Blood-planted evidence by supposedly HPD officers on his clothing all of a sudden came into existence. Where was this blood splatter on his clothing in the previous trials? All of a sudden now it comes out, and that's why his attorneys, who are smart, wise lawyers, filed a federal lawsuit accusing DA's office and HPD of corruption and supporting perjured testimony about lying blood stains on his clothes.
It was actually a different set of attorneys that filed that civil lawsuit. They did it. It was an act of desperation. They
but
did
they're
it
his lawyers.
The closing moments of that trial. This is a young man that brutally married. It's disgusting. The social media response is just like you. It's driven along purely racial lines. If this was a young white man who killed his parents like this, you would be calling for the death penalty.
Now let me tell you something.
And we have more sympathy. More sympathy for this young man. We have more sympathy for this young man than we do for the police officer who was shot by a maniac.
Armstrong's not guilty.
I haven't heard you talking to
Armstrong's not guilty.
All of this.
They played dirty tricks to convict that young boy.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they
diligently,
did.
You know,
that young man is not guilty
of a racist prosecution by an incredibly diverse district attorney's office, an incredibly diverse investigative team, an incredibly diverse police department.
In this case, they didn't turn the corner. They cut the corner, didn't deal the deck.
Okay, tell me how.
From the bottom
tell me
and
how. How did they cut the corner?
Because
instead of being bombastic,
this new blood spatter evidence was fabricated evidence. And supposedly, all of a sudden now, after 7 years and several trials, they now discover some new blood on his clothing from his parents. That's a lie, brother.
O.J. Simpson most certainly killed his wife and ex-wife and Ron
O.J. Simpson not guilty.
But hold on.
O.J. found not guilty.
Furman and Van Adder absolutely planted blood evidence in that case, and Barry Schreck did a great job in determining it because there was preservatives found. You're just screaming. You're not talking about the facts.
Young A.J. Armstrong, don't lose hope, don't lose faith. Your family will fight for you.
It is purely your positions
on appeal. He will win.
Driven by complexion.
On appeal, he will win.
That's the problem. There's more sympathy for this murderer than there's a cop pleading for his life because someone decided to shoot him on a traffic
stop. A.J. Armstrong ain't got a damn thing to do with a cop being shot. You mixing apples and artichokes, brother.
We'll be back.
Charles, there's a viral video going around of an African-American father who's catching a lot of heat and flack because he caught his young daughter between the age of maybe 5 or 6. She was twerking on a video. He walks up to her and he swipes her on the butt to stop doing that. Now he's catching a lot of flack about spanking his daughter because he caught her twerking. I applaud that father. I say good job to that father. We want more fathers actively involved in their children's lives. And I'm sick and tired of seeing these babies and all kind of women and young children twerking on videos. That's the father sent her a message. I'm not raising that in my house. You don't shake your behind for the whole world to see. I applaud that father.
Well, you're talking about criticism on social media. Almost everything I saw was applause for this father, and I could not disagree more with his actions. A child, and that child looks 3 to 4 years old, not 5 to 6 to me, a child of any age from 3 to 6 is not sexualized normally. They're only sexualized if they've been abused or their parents have allowed them to be around sexualized things. That child was doing a silly dance. There was nothing twerking about. There was nothing sexual. It might have actually been twerking that she copied from her mother or a video or someone else or someone in the home. But it wasn't her behaving badly. It was her behaving silly. And corporal punishment, which I do agree should be used, like if this was a 13 or 14-year-old child twerking for TikTok, that'd be a whole different story. But here, when you hit a kid that small, there's all kind of negative consequences that have been well defined by the medical industry, and you can see it on her face as she runs away. She didn't know what she did wrong.
No,
she didn't have the culpable mental state.
She knew exactly.
How can you say that?
She knew exactly that what she was doing was not right because she waited till her father was not around to twerk on that video.
How do you know that?
If she didn't know it was right, then she'd have did it in front of her father. I applaud that father for having the courage to correct and discipline his daughter. The Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. We have too many children in America that have not had that rod, and they've gone crazy in this country. My grandmother, my auntie, would be locked away in prison for the whoopings that I got, but guess what? It made me a better man. We got too many young kids running around committing crimes because ain't nobody put no rod on that behind. We need to bring corporal punishment back into the schools and into the homes.
I am all for, and I applaud this father for being concerned enough and being involved. I think the real broken part of this country right now, and in all ethnic demographics, is the incredible number of fathers who procreate and then take their asses down the road, right? Who are not involved, especially in daughters' lives. And I applaud this father for being involved, but what you're doing is you got a child doing something silly. And if he wants to hit someone, he should hit whoever exposed her to twerking.
It was more than silly.
Whoever.
She was doing something that was immoral.
How do you know from the short little video?
She was doing something that was immoral.
She was
And
dancing.
when you watch that video, Charles, you see these young children.
So
that
you
young,
think she was trying to turn somebody on?
I've seen
you
silly
think she
parents.
was trying to be sexy?
I've seen silly parents laugh with their kids on social media, twerking their behind. I've seen parents on social media encourage their kids to twerk their behind. And those parents need their behind whooped too. Charles, we got to get back in this country to discipline and moral correctness. Because this generation has lost its moral sense of shame. You have an adult daughter, right?
Right.
I have adult daughters. And I want my adult daughters to know right now if I ever catch you on a video. They adults right now, so my 10-year-old.
Hey, you're talking
Let
about
me
the
catch
video.
one of mine twerking on
That
video.
5-year-old didn't put the video on TikTok. The parents
Somebody
did.
else
so if
did.
you want to put hands
Somebody
on somebody,
else did.
put hands on the parents
somebody else
that
did.
exposed her to twerking,
Charles,
used her for the dopamine
we gotta
rush
correct
of
our
click,
children.
click, 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 click.
We got to correct our children,
TikTok is more important.
He sent a clear
TikTok
message.
is more important than that child.
He sent a clear message. We ain't raised no booty shakers in this house. He sent a clear message.
He sent a clear message that they want more exposure on TikTok than they want to be good parents.
Let me catch one of my grown daughters doing that. I'm coming to see you, baby. You never get too old. That's silly. There's enough of that twerking stuff going on. Show me your mind, not your behind. Charles, we have all witnessed and watched, especially those of us who are sports fans, the story of Michael Orr, a young African-American gentleman who was quote-unquote homeless, adopted by a white family, put back on track, put back in school, went to college on a full Division I football scholarship, made it all the way to play for the Baltimore Ravens and other teams, successful NFL career. They made a motion picture about his life and the white family that adopted him. But now he's filed a lawsuit against them, wanting to end his relationship with them on a working level, family level, and business level, because he felt like he was misled. They never really legally adopted him. That part of the movie was a lie. They took conservatorship of him, and he felt they robbed and stole millions of dollars from him also, and they lied to him, making him believe that they legally adopted him. They only had conservatorship and took money, millions, he's alleging, from him. It's a sad story because we all thought that they did it from the kindness of their heart.
I absolutely agree with you. There are a lot of things that are coming very clear. It's a 2009 movie. The Toohey family, especially the patriarch, the father, is claiming, why would I take this money? I sold my fast food franchises for $200 million. We've only made $60,000 or $70,000 off that movie, and it was split up equally. But what he said specifically is we've only made $60,000 or $70,000 in the last 5 or 6 years. Well, this movie came out in 2009. Michael Orr is saying that, well, they told me they had to do a conservatorship because adoption was not allowed as an adult in Tennessee. Absolutely not the case. You can absolutely adopt adults in the state of Tennessee. You can do it in the state of Texas. And they're claiming now, well, that's what our lawyers told us. A conservatorship is a vehicle for people that are mentally or physically incapable of dealing with their own affairs. Famously, the biggest news conservatorship was, of course, Britney Spears. We've seen how she has fallen off the rails, the moment that conservatorship ended. But this is just a whole bunch of lies.
But they lied to that young man.
Oh, they most certainly lied to that young man. It seems like he might be lying too.
They exploited him, though.
Okay.
They saw a great potential football talent. They helped develop that talent, knowing he would make millions. And then they took control of the movie part of his life and led the whole world, including you and I both, into a lie that they adopted him. Well, and they never did. So all of the money made off that movie, they should give the money back, because they made money and profited off an absolute lie, even to the victim.
Well, see, that's the thing with a conservatorship. You're allowed to contract for the person. The conservatorship is still in place. He's an adult man, fully capable of making his own decisions.
That just shows motive.
But here's the thing. There's some other scary things. So obviously, his parents were horrible, right? CPS had taken him from the home. Mother was a drug addict. Dad was not involved. But if you'll notice, the real school and the movie school, two different schools. Why? Because the story that they brought him in and put him in the school, no, he was already a successful athlete at a private school. I put my kids in private school because I went to public school and I made some damn money. I put them in private school. I saw private schools all over the city of Houston are notorious for bringing in great talent athletically and paying their tuition.
But you know who I'm angry at the most?
Go ahead.
I'm really angry with the African-American community.
Why?
Because the most unadopted children in CPS custody in America are young black boys.
Well, how does that pertain to these people taking advantage of this man?
Because we in the African-American community are not adopting our own children that are in CPS custody, who need to be adopted, who need families, who need homes. We're not stepping up to the plate, going after our children and giving them a home. That's what I'm angry about. We have to let others do it because we're failing to do it for our own children. And when they see great talent, the finger at them, when the finger should be pointed at us, because we are not doing what we're supposed to do in our community, taking care of our own children in foster care.
It does seem like they did a tremendous amount of good for him while he was in high school. They gave him a safe home. They gave him a platform to be successful. Another lie, the father is saying, the patriarch is saying, well, I had to do the conservatorship because that's what helped him get into Ole Miss. We both know
that's a lie.
Why Ole Miss was fighting for him, right? It's nonsense. I hope he gets the money he deserves.
My son's a football player.
Right.
He has Division I scholarship offers all over the place. It ain't got nothing to do with the conservatorship, getting him those offers.
It makes no sense.
It's your skill.
Clearly there are lies.
And what you do in the classroom.
Hopefully he gets the money he deserves.
Exactly. I hope so.
Quanell, more controversy for Disney. Apparently, Prince Charming is a stalking rapist, right? That's according to Rachel Ziegler, the Colombian descent actress who is playing Snow White. The controversy for this live-action Snow White started years ago in 2021 when Peter Dinklage, the little person actor, went on a Mark Maron podcast and decried Disney's decision to use actual little people to play the dwarfs. He thought it was insulting and thought it was the time for pets. So I guess he was just screwing some of his colleagues out of jobs. Now we have a multicultural 7 dwarfs that only looks like it involves one dwarf, which makes no sense. That controversy died down. Then Rachel Ziegler, the actress, she came out, criticized the storyline, criticized Prince Charming, and said they're doing a progressive Snow White that's not very much of a love story. Then when she got a bunch of blowback on it, she went back on social media and started crying and whining about how difficult to be a movie star. And if you look at the legacy media, Quanell, they're calling all the criticism, Us Weekly, Slate Magazine, all of the traditional mainstream media, which is really liberal media, is saying, oh, it's just white racists upset about it not being a white person. The truth is, all Americans of every complexion, every ethnicity, we're tired of being lectured by our entertainment. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So you're speaking for all other groups now?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, Quanell. I am tired of it when a white person criticizes something. Oh, it's racist.
Let Snow White be Snow White all she wants to be, because now
I'm all for it.
She got some color in this new episode that's coming out.
Okay, it's not an episode, it's a movie.
Well, this new movie that's come out, Snow got some color, so the snow ain't so white. And ain't nothing wrong with a little flavor. Just say she's a white girl with a tan for those racist.
But that's not the criticism. It's not about her complexion.
But she also said
it's about calling Prince Charming a stalker.
She called him a stalker.
It's about having
He's
some
not a stalker.
crazy or
It's a love
non-dwarf
story.
dwarfs.
There's
You
nothing
want to see a
wrong.
Smurf movie with somebody my height?
So let Snow White have some color, man. Hell,
That's not the issue. Everyone wants to make it the issue instead of talking about, hey, Disney,
Well, just like
we
she's a
don't want to
white
be
girl with a
lectured.
tan.
We don't need a political
she's a white
lecture.
girl with a tan.
So you think Prince Charming's a rapist?
No.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Got a woman
I know
of color
you want to
now.
make everything
He got a woman
black
of
or white
color
racing.
now.
But
I didn't bring up color, you did.
You think Prince Charming's a stalker?
I believe he's a man who was diligently and faithfully pursuing a woman, doing whatever within his power to get her attention and to win her heart. And the problem today is
you
women,
don't
women,
think he's a
women are
stalker.
being taught.
Do you
Let me
think
finish.
Snow White?
Women are being taught today that if a man pursues you, comes after you, and goes beyond the call of duty to win your heart, that man's a stalker. We need more men like that, and we need women letting men know you don't just get my heart, you got to earn it. Like Prince Charming did for Snow White. But Snow White got some color this time.
The kiss that saved her from death from the poison apple, do you think that was a sexual assault? Because that's what Rachel Ziegler thinks, and they've removed it from the movie. Or do you think that's absolute idiocy?
I believe it's crazy.
Okay.
And I don't believe the kiss.
Well, so I was right. Thank you.
But I want to see how that woman of color kissed this time, because see, she got them nice thick lips.
Okay, first off,
she got that beautiful African presence on her lips.
I will agree.
I can see how that kiss gonna look. Cause you know, she ain't got them little skinny, thin lips. She got that nice color in her lips. Woo!
I think she's like 19, 20 years old. You're creepy. But the thing is, when white racists got mad about the Little Mermaid being played by an African American, no, that would be great.
And you would know.
She did a great job. It was a very successful movie. It was still Little Mermaid, and it was an actress that did a fantastic job.
And wasn't she beautiful, Little Mermaid?
She was fantastic.
That black young mermaid was gorgeous.
Didn't come out and say, "Oh, Ariel needs to be updated."
And a whole bunch of white folks was angry too.
Right, there were racists.
A whole bunch of white folks angry too.
But let's talk about Rachel Ziegler calling Prince Charming a sexual predator.
Rachel crazy as hell, but guess what? I like the fact that Snow White got some color this time.
Thank y'all for listening. Follow us on social media. Big Angry Law, Brother Quanell X. We'll be on Fox Soul in 2 weeks, all week long, primetime. Check us out.
And go watch Snow White. She looks good this time.